Hi, so welcome to a rather wintry introductory video to what to do with Tiki when you hire her. So I'm just going to walk around and show you all the key parts. So this thing here we can see just down there, that's the water heater outlet there. So if you ever see any steam or smoke coming out of there, well, smoke is a no-no, but steam is a yes. That's your water heater. That is the gas locker cupboard there. There's two gas bottles inside it. And you've got your water filler, your mains power socket, your toilet compartment, and around the back you've got a bike rack for 3 bikes, no more than 50 kilos. You've got your roof rack ladder, and you can only go on the back section of the roof, which is I'll go up and show you, which is this grey bit here. There's a solar panel there for powering the battery, and you can, on this roof rack area, you can see where you can tie down things to these poles on the sides. And on this side we have the locker there, or that's where your levelling chocks are, your hose pipe, your electric cable, your chairs, various other bits and bobs that are normally outside muddy stuff go in there. Moving forward, this is the fridge outlet. So when it's on gas, you'll see some steam coming out of there. These are the fridge vents. So again, when it's on gas, these need to be not covered. You've got a outside lamp up here. Very easy to forget to turn off, so make sure you turn it off before you go to bed. That is the vent for the extractor van in the kitchen. And of course the awning, and the awning is wound out by this socket on the back, and when it's clipped in, it should be firmly closed in like that. You see that needs winding in a little bit, and you should also see a little red tab there, goes up once it's locked in position. Okay, let's go inside. Okay, so Tiki's door, locking it. When you're going along at high speed, it's a good idea to lock the door, and to do that you just put these down. I'll just get this down. There's another one down the bottom there in the middle to keep the barn door together, and another one there. And to lock the door, this just goes up. So when you're driving along, do that, and when you get to site, undo it, and then out you go. Tiki's lights. So we have multiple lights in Tiki. We have some nice little ambient reading lights in the back. They're operated by a push button. One there too. Then up in the roof we have these fluorescent strip lights. All of these work off the battery, so you don't need to be connected to the mains to do these. We have another one up the front up there. We have a nice little spotlight just here, which is good for cozy reading. And we have another big fluoro tube here. Up in the upstairs bed, there's one up there on the left. And in the cab, you've got little lights just hiding behind the curtain there on each side. And the toilet one is the trickiest to find. So in the toilet we have it, there's the switch, it's underneath the cupboard, and that lights this nice big one here. The next topic is ventilation. So obviously that means windows, fans, skylights. So the windows are of the type where There are 4 latches holding them in position. Let me just come back a bit. There we go. And these lock. When you open it, they lock this in position. You can put it in between. You see that little slot there, and that gives you about 10 millimeters of open, so it's just kind of lets a bit of air in. The same all round, apart from this window here, which is a slider. So to slide it open, the back side doesn't slide, but the front side does. So you just pull in the lever that's there. Just go a bit like so, and that latches in like that. Now all of the windows have sight blinds, as they're called, and these work by squeezing in these 2 tabs here, pulling down, and then they'll lock into these little dings here. So to get it fully down for a block out, go down to the bottom. Now when you release it, it's on a spring, so you have to follow it up, otherwise it will do that, and some of them can be a bit brutal. So squeeze it in and follow it up. Now behind each blind, you'll find there's a little ring tag. You can pull this down and give yourself a privacy curtain or a fly screen. So they're quite good if you want some lighting, but you don't want everyone knowing what you're doing. That's the same on all windows, including these. Now fans, we have an extractor fan here in the kitchen. Pull the string. And then we also have one in the bathroom too. Now running the extractor fan in the bathroom is essential after a shower, just to get the air out, as is leaving the door open, just to get that air out. And if you're finding on a wintry day it's virtually impossible to dry out the toilet, you can run the fire with the hot air blower on, and this little vent down here will make it very toasty and make it dry out very quickly. Now your last bit of ventilation is the hatch. So just pan up here. These are opened by pushing both handles on each side together, squeeze in the lever behind, push up, and do this carefully and firmly. They both need to go at the same time. I'm just doing this to demonstrate because I know what I'm doing. This middle vent can be open while you're driving, however the front one cannot. This one has an air deflector on it, that one doesn't. If you drive with that front one open, it will blow off, and that's going to cost you 350 quid to replace it. Now each of these skylights have, again, a fly screen that pulls from one side and a blind that pulls from the other. Now pull these out very slowly and carefully and equally, and you'll see that they lock together like so. And then again, to release it gently, feed it back. Tiki's 30 years old, these things get a little bit tired. And you have the same on the front. So to get a good night's sleep, you need to have those block out blinds in and all the way around, and it can be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it'll still be nice and dark in here. Okay, the toilet. Now the toilet is a cassette toilet system, so it has a pull-out cartridge on the outside. I'll show you that in a minute when we do the outside features. You'll notice that there's a green marker down there, and this thing tells you how much how full its storage tank is of what. So when that gets near to red, you want to really go and empty it out. And again, like the shower, use this for emergencies if you can. Try and use public toilets or toilets on campsites, because really after a family of 4 peeing and pooping all day long, it'll be pretty much full by the end of the day. It's very surprising how much matter we create during the course of the day. So yeah, it's just be mindful of that, and especially with kids, because kids tend to love the fact that there's an electric flush feature. So try and get them to just operate on the following principles. So lift the lid up. There's your toilet lid there. Now, before you do your number twos, just give it a little tickle just to wet the bowl. Just one little press of this button here. Now that makes things go down a bit easier, which makes cleaning up minimal. And then you open the door. So you see where it says open on here, turn it, and as you turn it, that will open up. And then inside, all the stuff goes. So when you're finished, flush again, close the door, shut the lid. Now TP is here on the wall, and also you can put one down here. Okay, just a word about the toilet door. When this bed is out, this double here, obviously this pulls out to there to be parallel with that, made up with that cushion and that cushion. You then have very little space to get into the toilet door. So what you need to do is undo this latch, and then the unit slides back like that, allowing you to get in and out. It's a very clever design, and it saves a lot of trouble. So we're now going to look at Tiki's Fire. Now this is a wonderful heating system that comprises of a Trumatic SL 3002 gas heater, and it either operates as a fire on its own with its own thermostat, or it can be used with the blower, which is effectively central heating and blows hot air out of vents in the toilet. There's ones on this side down here, and one up the front on this side down there, and one under the table as well, just down there. So each one of these vents have the butterfly valve on, so you can sort of turn them on and off as you want. But number one rule is you turn on the gas valve. So here we've got the gas heater isolator. So when the switches are upright, as you can see by my really well drawn diagram, they're off. When they're horizontal, they're on. So you turn that on. Now, to turn it on, I'm actually going to need to turn off the camera, so I should be able to do it. Right, so you push down, turn it around to the number you want. So it'll only light when you push it down. And this is the lighter, it's a piezo ignition. And then you look down here and you'll see the gas will light there. So I'm just gonna start it up now. I'll come back to you once it's so. As I mentioned, the fire is now lit. And if you look, I'm trying to get a right angle here. If you gotta look through this little gap, there you go. So you can see it's lit. Now, this knob here is your temperature. So basically, it's not going to do much on that sort of level. It's currently 10 degrees outside, so it'll just sit there with the pilot lights on, not using any gas, or very minimal gas. But if you turn it up high to 10, you can see the main burner's on, and you can hear it woofing away. Now, best thing to do is have it with the blower fan on, and just have it sitting there on, you know, whatever temperature is comfortable for you. So, you know, if I were you, start off with about 4 at night if it's cold. You know, if it's like -5 outside, go up a bit higher. You may have to play around with it to get used to it. It totally varies on how many people you've got in here, how cold it is, whether it's windy, but you know, it will keep you warm even on the coldest of nights, sorry. So let's see the other part of the system. I'm going to put the light on here as it's getting a bit dark outside. So this little guy here is the trimmer vent. Now you can see if any light gets in there. You'll see you've got a dial with numbers on, and then you've got a 3-way switch. So in the middle of the switch is off, and if you push it up, the fan is controlled by you. It's manual, so you can probably hear it if I shut up. So the other mode, which is the one you want to leave it on at night, is auto. Now again, the fan will work, but this time it only runs when at the speed you set it at, when the main burner is alight. So if I turn this down, now it's warming up at the moment, so that's why it's on. But essentially the way this works is it doesn't actually have variable gas sort of flow. It just comes on and then it goes off. So if you've got it on 10, it'll come on a lot until the room temperature is where it wants to be, very hot. So every time the burner runs, the fan will come on. So at night, the way you'll hear it go is the fan will be almost silent, and then when this needs to kick in for the heat, you'll find that you'll hear the fan whirring. So just don't worry that you're hearing the fan change speed during in the night. It's completely normal. Now the important thing is to turn the fire off. You turn it all the way around to 0 like that. You'll feel a hard stop there, and then to be extra sure, just turn your gas off there, and then come round to the vent if you're using that and pop that switch in the middle, and that's your heating system off. Okay, cooking. Tiki is very well appointed. It has 3 burner hob, rear, front left, front right. Now these aren't pizza ignition ones, so you have to light them with a spark gun, or there's a lighter in here in the bucket. And essentially you can feel them when they're off, they will not turn. So to check everything is off, if you ever smell gas, just wiggle these and make sure they're all can't move. So to operate it, you push it in, turn it, light it, and then you can have low and high just like a normal gas cooker at home. Now Tiki also has a grill. Now be very careful when the grill's on, because this is the grill vent here. You can actually use it as a sort of a warmer for saucepans on top. The heat will come up here and will make this very hot. So to light the grill, you need to open this up, take your grill pan out, and light under here in the center, just like the old gas cookers from student days. Now the grill is brutal, so if you're making toast, if you do toast like that with barely any gap between the burner, it will be black within seconds. So even if you take this out, it will still be very minimal time before it's cooked. So the best option is with your grill is to turn it down and just sit here where I'm sitting and watch it until you get used to it. So don't ever put something on the grill and then walk away from it. Obviously if you're doing something greasy like bacon, please use cooking foil. It's just so much easier to clean up for yourselves when you come to do that. Now the oven, again, it's a manual lighting system. So at the back you have the burner there, and you have the pilot light, and you turn around this knob to see here where it says spark. So push in, turn, light the burner on the back. Now you see that thing in the middle? That is the thermocouple, so it will only stay on when that's sort of hot. So you need to count to about 20, 30, and then slowly release the knob, and the whole burner should stay on. Now once it's on, you can then obviously go between low, medium, high, and then off is up here. Just put that back in there. Now to make sure it's closed for transport, push the rabbit hutch thing down. Now, like the heater, each of the units has its own isolator. So hob, oven, fridge. So off is vertical, horizontal is on. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the fridge. The fridge is what they call a three-way fridge. So it'll work off mains electricity, it'll work off the vehicle battery, and it will work off the gas. So the way you use these is when you're driving, you have this on. So this will only glow red when the vehicle engine is running, and the point of that is that it doesn't discharge the vehicle battery, because these guys use a lot of juice, both electrically, less on gas, but they do use a lot electrically. So your electric side controls are here. So you want to have it on flat out basically, and when you get to site, turn the engine off. This will automatically go off, even though it's on the on position, because it only works when the engine's running. Now if you want to use the electric hookup with the cable provided, you plug it in, then this switch will work, and that glows green when it's on. Now the next part is, if you're wild camping, you don't have any electric hookup, so you need to use the gas, and the gas works just as well. It's just a bit bizarre that a fridge can work off gas, but it does. So the way you work this is, you'll see in the fridge down there, there's a little tiny hole. Do you see that there? That's actually a little glass window that shows you the pilot light of the fridge. So what you need to do to make the fridge work is turn on its valve down here. Sorry, that was the bottom one. Now it does take a little while for the gas to get through to the actual burner, so hold this in, turn this knob around to 3, which is maximum. See there, you've got the image of the flame. That's basically the level marking there. So you hold that in, and then as it's held in, you flick the piezo igniter. Now try and get a shot where you do actually have to get down on your hands and knees to see this. So I'm going to get down there. Now I'm going to turn the lights off too, so you can try and get an idea about how the flame looks. So there we go. Now it's not on yet, so it does take, if you just turn on the gas valve, it will take a little time. Right, so it's just coming through. There we are, we have a flame. So I think you can see that in there now. You hold it for about 5 seconds, then release the knob. That is your fridge now on gas. And now it will run very quietly and keep your food nice and cool. The freezer unit, just be careful with things up here because they do tend to get frozen. This is obviously your ice box and there's a couple of coolers in there. But yeah, if you put something like strawberries there, they'll end up like rocks because this is the coolest part of the fridge. So we're going to make the rear bed now. This is the longest bed, just by a couple of inches, but it's a little bit narrower than the kitchen bed. So dead simple to make up. As I said, before you do it, put the latch on the bathroom door so it opens like this. And we're going to pull the bed out. So to do that, just get rid of that cushion, lift this up, pull your slats out. Now you can either have a large single, like so, get rid of that cushion, or you can have the full double, which is all the way out, and then both of the cushions. And then that cushion, you go and pop in the cab out the way. So there you are. Now, you're obviously near the heater here, but you know, if you've got the blower on, most of the heat will go out of the air vents, which actually go underneath your bed. So it's better to have the blower on at night, then the person who's here won't get too hot. But it's a good sized bed, very comfortable, good sized cushions. Okay, so now we're going to do the galley bed. This is the big bed. So you can either, again, like the rear, you can either have it as a wide single and then give yourself a bit more room in the kitchen area, so literally as it is there, or you can pull it out to here and have a great big double. So I'll show you both. First things first, you have to get rid of the table. Now the table, believe it or not, does not actually make any part of the bed. So the table attaches to the side of the van with two black clips, and what you've got to do is reach underneath, and there's a little lever. There's a little lever that you pull back, and you can feel it release itself. So what you do is lift it up like that. Only do it this way because the leg, when you press the release catch in, can swing down and could possibly trap your fingers. So push this out there, lift your leg up. There you go. Now this you can also use as a table, freestanding table outside, but don't leave it out in the rain because it's wood and it's already delaminated a little because somebody left it out in the rain. So to make the bed up, it's very simple. This magic hatch here, just pull this forward and out comes your slats, and then simply you just tuck down the seat belts behind, just get the bits out of the way, and best to have the big cushions where most of your body weight is. There you go. So that's a wide single. Now if you want to go the extra mile, you pull these out on each side. Oops. Now you do have to take the cushions off to do this because the slats have to move. Oops. Oops. Trapped there. There we go. So that's it, fully out. And then you get up here, this little add-on piece that just sits in there like that. So that brings the bed out. And then you've got these two spare cushions up here, double cushions. So those will go there like that, and then build the bed as you did before. So you can see the sort of size difference of the bed when it's made up. It's a good foot wider. Get the other one down. So this is my favourite bed because in the morning I can get up and just lean over and put the kettle on. Just a quick note on putting the bed away. Depending on how many people you've got travelling in the back and use of the lap belts, you've actually got 6 seat belts, 2 in the front and then 4 lap belts here. So the lap belts will by default end up underneath the seat, so just remember to get the ones out you need, push your cushion back. Sorry, let me just get this out of the way. Just put the ones you need above the seat cushion so that they're visible like that, and then put your back cushion in to secure them. Okay, so last bed is the big overcab double. Now it's a little bit tight, shall we say, in height up at the front, because obviously the roof's sloping for wind resistance. So we normally let a couple of kids sleep up here, but it's at this end it's fine for an adult. There's loads of headroom there, plus you've also got this sort of space over here, you know, for sort of breathing space, as it were. You've got the hatch up there as well. You've got your own light on this side, so head wants to be here really if you're an adult. You've got your own curtains. Now if you're an adult, this ladder here comes out and can go down on the floor, but it also acts as a security system to keep children in or to stop adults from rolling out too. If children are going up there, you can use step on there and then on there, but not there, because that happens, to get up or lift them up, rather than getting the ladder out every time, just so that, you know, it's easier for you. You can actually pick this cushion up and put it on top of the other cushion with the ladder on top of it, and that gives you much wider access into the cab. But normally what you do is put all your bedding, your pillows, your bags and everything up there, so that the whole rest of the van has got plenty of space in it for you to use and enjoy during the day. And I would stress, you know, I have had people hire a Tiki who've bought everything apart from the kitchen sink, and it's got it all in it already. You know, just bring your clothes, go to the supermarket, buy some food. Don't bring 1,000,001 huge big things in boxes that you would normally have in a tent, because there isn't the space to put those type of things. You can't leave them outside in the annex. So just be mindful that the way to enjoy this van is to have the space. You've got loads of locker space, huge amount. You've got under-seat storage, loads of space for food, loads of space for clothes. You have a big wardrobe here, which has hangers. It also can be used as an airing cupboard as well. So there's the hangers there. You can put your towels up the top there. You can put your towels on these hooks here above the fire, get them nice and dry. You've got loads of storage here. You've got knick-knack trays under here, more storage there. There's actually a little cool box here which you can use to put your beer or wine or anything like vegetables, potatoes or whatever in there. One there. Then if you turn around up here, you've got the, oops, just get this out of the way. You have a big cupboard here which is full of plastic bags ready for you to use as garbage bags. You've got storage underneath the cleaning area here, which you can use. That's got the toilet cleaning fluid in it. Knives and forks there, but you can put all your potatoes and veggies down there, for example. All your pots and pans are down there. All of your plates are in these cupboards. So you've got your main plates and bowls there, wine glasses. Up here you've got more wine glasses and some spare plates and bowls. You've then got your big plates, mugs, spare cutlery, measuring jug, coffee maker, grater, kids cups, all important bottle opener. Here you've got local area magazines and nature guides. In this unit here, storage again, loads of storage there too. Okay, so Tiki's got different electric systems. It's got its 12-volt electric system and its mains power system. The mains power only works when you're connected with the electric hookup cable, and that powers then these plugs. And you'll notice that with these plugs you've got USB charger points there built in. There's also another plug in the kitchen as well, which can be used. Underneath the driver's seat there is a 4-bar adapter, and underneath the bed seat here there's a little electric heater, blower heater, so that if you want to save gas and you're on a campsite you can use that to keep warm. So that only works when you're on the mains hookup. Now this little doodad here is the solar power regulator. This tells you what your battery voltage is. It's currently 12.8 volts. Now it's got 2 USB ports on it, and this is where you can plug in USB charging when you're not connected to the mains. You see this little bulb here? These will only work when that is on. So you press this button to put that on. That's all we need to worry about. I'm going to leave it on permanently because it never seems to discharge the battery. Now the sun's just come out, so you can see the battery voltage starting to go up. So this works off a separate battery to the car battery, and it lasts pretty well. You know, you're only going to be running electric lights off it, and that essentially in the pump. So it's very rare that it runs out of power. And if there's no solar power and you are using it heavily, all you have to do is go for a 10-minute drive and it will put quite a bit of juice back into it. So Tiki's power supply is regulated by this woofer here. So it's got a rocker switch here with off in the middle, and then a picture of a caravan and a picture of a car. So this determines which battery all of the interior lighting and pump and everything work off. So this is different from the fridge, though, I should stress. So you always have it on this caravan. Now it does show you battery level indicator there for each of the batteries, but to be honest with you, using the solar regulator's the best way to go. So if for any reason should anything go crazy wrong, or you see smoke coming out of anywhere, or you know, the pump's running continuously, or something's wrong, you can isolate everything by turning this to off in the center. You do have fuses here, and there are spare fuses in the kit box, which is in the airing cupboard. So I'm going to leave that on. Right, so driving Tiki. Before we start, make sure the passenger seat is secure, because it does rotate. There's a little lever here you can see. Just make sure the seat belt isn't caught in it like it is now. You turn that round and then push it down and it locks in. So take the seat belts out of their clamps and then you can put them on properly. It's a 5-speed. The shifting pattern is here on this little doodad next to the steering wheel, just there. Yeah, you can see that, it's good. Now the starting key is the one with the pink around the base of it. Now this is an old diesel, it's a turbo diesel, very fangled in the 80s, but it's an old one. So when you turn it on, you've got to let the heater, the preheater for the glow plugs run. So you turn the ignition on and you'll see this yellow light here with the coil symbol.
Sorry.
Hang on. There we go. Now, best thing to do is count to about 20. It will go out eventually, but count to about 20 and then start it. And off she goes. Now, give it a little bit of gas after it's run for a bit. Like any old thing, she's a bit grumpy in the morning when she doesn't want to get up. So you will find that a bit of blue smoke comes out the side. This is normal on old diesels without catalytic converters, but once it's been running for about a minute, it will be fine. And similarly when it's once you're driving along, it's absolutely fine. You won't find any smoke coming out the side. So it's a great big coach build body, so it's not particularly aerodynamic. It's only a 2.5 turbo diesel engine. It's done 100,000 miles, which is a lot less than most stuff on the road these days, but you know, it's old tech, it's 80s tech. So the best way to drive it is just slow and steady. Don't over brake, don't over accelerate. She's happy on the motorway cruising about 62, 63. You'll get about 30 to the gallon doing that. And then on B roads, that sort of thing, you want to be doing about 50. Not B roads, sorry, A roads where it's a 60-mile-an-hour limit. You know, rule of thumb is just take it easy, keep it consistent, and you'll get the best fuel economy. Now she's wide, so it's deceptive. The cab is much thinner than the back. So when you know, use your wing mirrors as a gauge of how wide Tiki is. She's not this wide; she's as wide as the wing mirrors. And when you're going down country lanes, just give yourself plenty of room. And if somebody comes the other way, tough, make them move, because reversing this thing into the bushes can damage the windows, which are plastic, obviously, generally cause a lot more damage than backing a Discovery up the side of a country lane. So just be mindful of that. The second thing you need to be mindful of is the overhang here of the cab. So if you see low-hanging branches coming down from trees, you need to steer well clear of those. You know, I'm talking about the biggish ones. Little twigs and things are fine, but it will damage it. So just remember, keep it wide, and if you can't get through somewhere, let the person pass and just go through when it's clear. Lights here, push that one on. They automatically turn off when the ignition's off. High beam, low beam, indicators, horn, wipers. You've got delay wipe there. Hazards. The fan is here, so high, medium, off. This is the heater, full heat that way, cold that way. This is the direction, so these little squares mean these things, so that's in the cabin. Down arrow means feet, that means defrost up through the window. This is recirc or outside airflow, so over there is full outside. Fuse box, if you ever get into trouble, is behind here, and here's all the fuses listed on the orange. The handbrake, which is the one that always gets everyone, is actually down here to the right of the seat, underneath the seat. So that's where your handbrake is. You can't see it there, but yeah, that's fine. What else have we got? Oh yeah, the stereo. Stereo works regardless of the ignition being on. So you push and hold this, it's on. And you've also got an auxiliary input. There's the cable, so you can plug your iPad or iPhone into it. Other brands are available. And you can set it to auxiliary, and then you've got music from your device. Now, under each of the front seats are speakers. So when you get to the campsite, and if it's nice, you can just open the door and direct that outside and get a bit of music going outside. Now, under this front seat is a small fire pit and the jack. Under this seat are some rags and spare parts. You've got spare bulbs for the lights in the door here for French travel, and just in general because it's a good idea. And the spare wheel is under the bonnet. And to get to the bonnet, you pull this little ring lever here, and that gets you access to the bonnet. So we'll just go and have a quick look under the bonnet so that everyone knows where to check the water and the oil, etc, etc. So I'll pull that. There we go. Alright, we'll hop outside. Okay, to get inside the hood, there we go. There's a bit of water here. Here's a spare tyre. Washer fluid is here. So that's your screen wash. Undo the lid, fill that up. Your radiator water is here. It's never been a problem, but just so that you know, make sure the lid is turned on tight. Your dipstick is here. Oil changed recently, very good. And there's your battery, and that's all you need to worry about here. Okay, so we're going to have a look in the gas cupboard here. Now, we'll just get this out in some light so you can see. It's a clip-on regulator, and to get it off and change the bottle, you push in this button. Oh, sorry, you turn the knob round to the side, and you push the button, and it just comes off. Put it on, you push down, that's it on, and then you put a lever up, and that's your gas on. Now, there's room for 2 bottles in here, and if one runs out, go and refill the other one so you don't get caught short. It's about £25–30 to have each bottle filled up. You've got some jumper leads there too. Just lock that in like that. Okay, so the mains hookup is via this plug. Now you'll see the orange cable in the locker in a minute when I show you that. Now this, you just plug it on, it will clip on behind, push that down at the top to keep rain off it, and then go plug it in at the campsite point. They never normally charge you a rate, they just charge you a flat fee for it. So that's the electric hookup point. Okay, the toilet. It doesn't actually have a lock on it. To fill this up, this is your rinse water. So that's your flush water, sorry. So fill that up to the brim. It takes quite a while to fill right up to the top. Swing that out. Now to drain the actual toilet, you pull this out. So that's going the wrong way. Grab this. Now, don't worry about the liquid in there, that's just some leaking rinse water, it's not you know what. So the way this works is, that's obviously the bit you can see through the toilet. You don't have to touch any of this at all. You just turn this out, take it to your chemical disposal point, or find your nearest sewer manhole, and you undo this, and you lift it up, press the button in to let the air into it, turn it around that, and then tip it down, and then all your gubbins will come out. Now, it's best to rinse it out a couple of times, do that a couple of times, shake it around just to get any loose stuff out. And then, before you put it back in, pull this back, turn down the door, and put some toilet liquid in there, which is under the sink, and put in enough to probably be about half a Coke can full, and then put enough water so you've got about an inch of water in the bottom that covers it all over, and then that should do. And let's put it back in, push it in like that, close up the door, make sure it's clipped in behind this little latch, and shut it off. Okay, the locker. And this is where all the goodies are. So you've got your filler hose here, your mains cable, got your bow saw for log cutting. You've got the jack winding handle. Now the jacks are like a caravan there, through those holes there, and they lower down so they stabilise the van, you know, if everything's moving around at night. You've got some chairs in there as well, but make sure this is locked when you go away, otherwise you'll lose all your stuff and my stuff. That's it. And to lock the door, turn up. Sorry, turn it up. Is that right? No, down, sorry. There you go, that's it locked. So the key that says MC32, turn it down, that's you locked.